You are in the temple of the rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Mr. Bones, who says, rant about infidelity, whether as a broad concept or the times you or your friends have encountered it in life. Personally, I haven't really encountered much infidelity. I've only been in 2 relationships. Neither of them involved any of it. None of my friends were ever cheated on to my knowledge, because most of them didn't really have any relationships at the times that I was friends with them. Um, I like ancillary know people who have been cheated on. It's affected, parents of people who are close to me, but it always feels, it's a weird and distant fascination to me. And I guess because the way I was raised, infidelity doesn't even occur to me. Because, like, my parents, particularly my dad, is like, I don't think it would ever cross his mind to cheat on my mom. He kind of only gives a shit about her and nobody else, really. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I can't interview him about, whatever thoughts he might have had, whatever opportunities might have arisen. But for me, as somebody who didn't even have sex until I was 22, almost 23, maybe I was, wait, was I 22 or 23? I think I was 22. Maybe it was shortly after my 22nd birthday, whatever. For me, it's like, sex isn't something I've ever thought about as something that's just, like, available to you, as something you can just go and do with somebody. I've only ever had sex with 2 people in serious relationships. And so, like, to me, the idea of, like, just fucking someone is odd. It's, like, not something I've experienced. I've never had a one-night stand or anything like that. And I don't really see why. Like, why bother? Why would you do that? I mean, maybe if you're not getting enough in your relationship, if you're not fucking and you need to fuck more, I fuck plenty. So, like, I already get enough sex that I don't think I would need to get more. I don't understand people who are like, who want to have sex with more than one person, because what difference does it make between, it's sex. You have sex because it's fucking good. I mean, choose a partner who's good at fucking, so you don't have to cheat on them. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just so alien to me that it's hard for me to really even think about. But it's also funny to me how upset people get over finding out that someone cheated. Like, to me, I mean, who the fuck would it matter to other than the people involved, right? Like, first of all, I don't think cheating generally happens outside of relationships that have some kind of toxicity in them. Like, if you are in a relationship that you have enough issues with that you would jeopardize it by, doing something like that, it probably isn't a good relationship. It probably has issues. You either aren't right for each other, or one of you is in a bad space and you're not dealing with it in a healthy way. Like, I just can't think of why you would cheat on someone if you were satisfied with the relationship you had. And so, to me, what is much more insidious than cheating is people sticking together when they shouldn't. Like, I think that is way bigger of a problem than people cheating. Like, cheating is a symptom of the problem of people being in toxic relationships, which is, like, I think of probably a majority of relationships, because most people get into relationships and they just don't want to leave them. They don't want to be alone. They don't want the struggle of having to find someone else, so they keep it together after it's no longer, just no longer doing enough for the people involved. And that's what leads to things like this. And it's like, if you're in a relationship that's, at a low enough point that you're willing to cheat, I think you should break up your relationship, Now, granted, sometimes it's more complicated because there's kids involved and, and family matters and things like that. But, I mean, it depends on the... Because people can change as well. Like, my parents almost broke up at a point, and then they got back together. They eventually became stronger than ever. And, so it was worth sticking it out in that case, I guess, and it was better for the kids. I certainly would have lived a much worse life if my parents had split. So it's not that I think that they should have split just because the relationship wasn't completely satisfying to them. I'm proud of them for working through it and, finding a way forward. So it's not that I'm just like telling everybody to cut and run the second your relationship's not going well, but like I do think, especially if there's not kids involved, there's just like, well, I guess I'll put it this way: if you're not working through it, then end it. If you are actually going to put effort into trying to make it work, into trying to rectify these problems and differences between you, put that sincere effort in. And then if you've exhausted the effort, that would be the time to seek something else. But like if you're in something that's destructive enough that it's leading you to destructive behavior, it's a problem. And it's really odd to me when people like hear somebody cheated on their spouse and they're like, "Oh, that person's a fucking monster. How could they do that?" And I'm like, probably because the relationship isn't going well. Like why would you cheat on somebody who you were completely satisfied with your relationship with? I don't know. Maybe again, I can't relate to it because like sex is such a it's something I've only ever had with people who I did care deeply about and been able to do consistently, and like there's the intimacy of that closeness is the appeal of the sex to me. Like I don't think like fucking someone I just met would even be fun or worthwhile. I don't think that like having to manage multiple relationships at the same time would be fun or worthwhile. Seems like a huge pain in the ass, all for something that is catastrophic to the relationship I already care about. So, like, it's a weird world to me. I don't entirely understand. I mean, I guess I do in terms of if you're having a bad relationship. Like, if I was stuck in a bad relationship, well, I would probably just end it. I would just be like, this is over now. I'm going to go fuck somebody else. It's not worth it to keep this going. But I guess I've never been put into a situation as complex as that, so it's difficult for me to speak on. And that's all I have to say.